I was trying to get them to stop the
Did you
game.
review that? Did they reset the clock? Sorry.
I was trying to get them reset. At least look at it.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Furman Football Weekly with head coach Clay Hendricks. He is joined on the dais today by players Wyatt Hughes and Braden Gilby. Paladins coming off of the win at Kennesaw State and open Southern Conference play on Saturday here at Paladin Stadium against Mercer. We'll give you all of the broadcast info at the end of our session today. We'll ask Coach to make an opening statement as usual, and then let the newest member of our media corps, Jay Jacobs, ask the opening question today. Coach?
Thank you, Dan. Hey, again, I appreciate you being here. I would like to start out by saying I had an opportunity this morning to attend Martha John's funeral service over on campus, and Miss Martha was First Lady of Furman for I think maybe 16 years, but passed at the age of 97. But I had great memories of her and Dr. Johns, and I know our university and especially our athletic department wouldn't really be where we are today without their unbelievable support all those years. But it certainly was an honor to be able to go over there and attend that. So that being said, really happy to be able to go to Kennesaw and get a win. Again, we celebrate wins around here, and I think we go. I think the team was maybe 49-7 history in that stadium. One of the winningest teams in the country, probably the last 7 or 8 years, and just proud of our team. I think I think a couple of things come to mind. I thought we showed great poise and a little toughness and grit. That's the kind of game it took that to get a win down there like it did. We didn't play our best football all the time, but again, I think it's some areas we're showing we can be a pretty good team in all those areas. And again, for me as a coach, just trying to get us all there on the same week. I think the good thing is hopefully our best game's clearly still ahead of us. Certainly probably need it this week if we want to get a win. But again, really proud of our team, how we played there the other night, and how we kind of kept responding and answering. And a program like that, I think very much like ours, I think sometimes people think you get a 2-score lead, somebody's going to roll over for you. They weren't. I knew they weren't. And but just really good night special teams wise, and then we certainly did some really good things both sides of the ball, and again some things that we'll have to clean up. But with that, we'll take any questions you may have.
Yeah, Coach, Tyler Huff had a great game this past Saturday. What's your thoughts on his development so far this season?
Well, I think Tyler did. I think Tyler showed a lot of toughness. Tyler showed those things we've all grown to see from him, and certainly had a heck of a football game. A guy that's not really I wouldn't label him a running quarterback, but he certainly has the ability to hurt people running the football for rushing touchdowns. Had a really rough first quarter. I think he'd be the first one to tell you that. And I think part of it is, it seems to be right now the year we get a lot of changes from week to week, and we have to settle in and adjust. And, we'd certainly like to do a little quicker job of that, particularly offensively, than we did. But I know Tyler had a heck of a game, and had a heck of a game at Mercer a year ago. And I continue to watch him, and I think he's only going to get better. And I think, again, he's got good people around him. So, we'll need him to play well this week if we want to have a chance to win.
Coach, you're up by 2 touchdowns, 21-7, and all of a sudden it gets to be a tight ball game down the stretch, and your team, when they had the opportunity to go down and kick the winning field goal, they were able to do it. You feel really good about your team and under the circumstances on the road, what they were able to do there late? Yeah,
I really did. We felt like we were moving the football, well most of the night. I think anytime you get in those situations, and they had 3 timeouts. We got to a point where I felt like I knew we were in kind of field goal range, and we certainly kind of wanted to end the game for the majority of the time down there. And if we popped a run, we would deal with that. But no, you got to be able to win games. Any good team I've been a part of, you have to win some games like that. And I do think this about our team. I think we've been in 3 really tough football games. I know the first game the score doesn't, but I thought it was a really tough fought football game, particularly for the better part of about 2.5 quarters against an older team than certainly at South Carolina and now at Kennesaw. You guys know me. I'm really happy to be kicking off in the daylight this weekend at home. But I do think those games are going to help us, and I certainly think, particularly that drive. Our guys have confidence. That's something we practice a lot. I didn't think we really had to get in as much of a 2-minute mode, but sometimes we're a little better when we go a little faster too. So I think those will be things we'll continue to work at.
Coach, you got your long kicker and you got your short kicker, but earlier this year, Ian Williams had the chance to kick a few extra points. Did you kind of do that in preparation for something like Saturday when you got a 19-yard attempt, that kind of angle on the left hash for your right-footed kicker?
Yeah, it's, good observation. We said all August we were going to try to have one guy, and it was so close again. It worked pretty good for us a year ago. It's been really good this year. But I think one of the questions did come up, Ian last year kicking field goals, gotten into that situation. And, we really could have gone either way. We decided to go with Ian. He'd been kicking off and had kicked some of those. But no, that was one of those very reasons. He gets in the game and really hadn't kicked very much other than kicking off. And, certainly really, really good execution. Maybe one of the better executed ones we had all night. Even protection was was better. We got to do a few little things to clean up some protections on that team. But, no, Ian's been really solid for us with the exception of that last kick. The design was not to kick a line drive to the guy, and let him catch it. And then I guess he's maybe the fastest player in college football. He ran, I think it was a 35-yard return. They took 2 seconds off the clock, So I wasn't very happy about that one either. But our coverage units did, really that was their best return of the night, even after the penalty when we kicked off from the 20. I think they had a 12-yard return. Nick Cannon, Jalen Miller, a couple of guys. So those guys are doing a great job on those cover teams. And I think you always take a little bit of the personality of your coach, and that's not me, but Coach Spangler's done a phenomenal job with that group, and they continue to get better. And, certainly the return was a big part of that game too.
Wyatt, Dom Roberto goes out of the game early, and it seemed to a little bit change the offense. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about is I think it was the QB follow play where Tyler scored. Could you just talk about Roberto's ability as a blocker?
Oh yeah, he's one of the most unselfish guys on the team. I feel like he's always going to be ready to do his job if he's got the ball in his hands or not. He's very willing to do anything it takes to help the team, and if that's a lead block for the quarterback on a run and get that extra hat we need, then so be it. I love the quarterback runs. It's one of the best plays in football in terms of a numbers advantage. And I think, Dom just goes out week in, week out. If it's pass protection, quarterback play, he's just going to do his job, and we got the utmost respect for him up front.
Wyatt, new position for you this year, moving from guard to center. How's that transition gone, and do you prefer center to guard?
It's really not been too bad for me at all. It's kind of been a lot of help. When I first came in, they always made me play a little center. Last year I jumped over against Charleston Southern. So it's kind of just another natural position for me. I felt pretty comfortable. I love guard. I love playing both, but, it's whatever the team needs, whatever helps us win.
Braden, y'all gave up a lot more yards than you did points. And I would imagine that on both sides of the ball, it was a real war out there. And so how was it? How was it for defense? What kind of challenge did they give y'all, and how did you manage to minimize their points comparing to their yards?
We showed up and we prepared all week for a triple option for them to run the ball on us, and we got through 2 drives and they just went straight drop back. So we tried to cover the pass as much as we could, but they completed a couple on us. They got athletes, got kids on scholarship too. I feel like we played a pretty good 3 quarters of defense, but that 4th quarter kind of got away from us. Just let a couple of small things snowball into bigger things, and they just popped a run on us, popped a couple passes on us for touchdowns, but kept our offense in the game as much as we could.
I'd like for Coach and Wyatt to address this. We've been waiting to see some consistency in the running game, and I think in the second half Saturday, we saw some glimpses of that. There were some opportunities it looked like for Dom to finally get rolling in the back, out of the backfield. Just talk about where the running game is and maybe what we saw in the second half yesterday. Coach, you first, and then Wyatt.
All right. Well, I'll say this. I think we're getting better up front. I mean, right now the plan is Jake Johanning will be with us this week. Really, we started practice, I think, August the 2nd. This will be the first day we've had all of our guys available, or yesterday was. We practiced yesterday, a light Sunday. So I'm excited about that. I know what he brings to our football team. And, but at the same time, I think we've had some guys. I think the experience we've had guys get these last 3 games in some tough situations has been, it's been great for us. So, I think we've played against some pretty good defensive fronts, some active, folks. I try to kind of keep that. Yeah, would we like to have a few more explosive games in the run game? Yeah, we would. I think probably. And, of course, Robert will probably tell you the same thing, probably letting people gang up on us a little bit sometimes at times and not taking advantage of that, which I think we've certainly proven we can. So I think, we're continue to want to be a team that's balanced. And balanced isn't 50-50. But I think it's a little bit of taking what they give us. But I think in all these games we've gotten better to run the football really as the games have gone on, and certainly start a little better than we did the other night. But I think we're making progress there. But again, I think we're we play against some pretty good teams against the run. Some older veteran groups, and team. I think anytime you play a team that runs the ball historically as well as they do, they're going to be pretty good in run defense. So, again, work in progress, but I like kind of how we're trending.
Yep, kind of going off Coach Hendricks, we kind of expected a different front coming into the game, and they switched it up on us and decided they weren't just going to sit back, and they wanted to come, give us run blitzes, give us tough looks. And, it was an adjustment starting off, but I think we kind of found our stride, hitting some plays, deep and throwing the ball on them. Of course, you're going to make those safeties respect the run a little bit more, or the pass a little bit more, and open up the run. I think we just, Dom's a hard guy to tackle for 4 quarters, and especially, coming off a block, having to hit him and then getting back up and doing it again, I wouldn't want to do it. So I think that's just what we have to do. We have to just keep going out there every single drive and just punish them for coming out on the field against us.
And just a quick follow-up, Wyatt, are you guys seeing more of that, seeing one thing on film and then getting into the game and seeing things that teams hadn't shown you before?
A little bit. I mean, we haven't played Tennessee Tech's defensive coordinator, so we didn't know what to expect from them. South Carolina, I thought they played pretty base defense, and then Kennesaw, I think they really wanted to come out and stop our run and not just sit back on their heels. And they made that a big priority for them, and a big priority for us is moving the ball on the ground. So I'm glad we could get it going and find some crease in there.
Coach, Mercer has their running back and their quarterback has about the same totals as Tyler and Dominic. Are you going to be kind of approaching it just like you're facing your own team based on the stats that they have right now?
Well, I don't know. I think when you look at them, the 2 guys that truly make them go are the 2 receivers. And I know they're going to try every way they can to get those guys the ball, which I would too. Coach Cronick, they've kind of evolved a little bit offensively. I think the quarterback a year ago was a phenomenal player. But the kid they're playing with now, the Peavy kid, whose dad actually I coached here. Go watch the game from 2020 and see how we fared against him. Trying to tackle him. So he's a good athlete. He had a 75-yard run against Ole Miss. He must be able to run a little bit. So I don't know. I think they want. I think they're a little bit like us. I think they like to throw the football and run the football, and so I think we're built similarly in lots of ways. But I think it's going to go. I think for us, it's still got to go with the run game. We did a really good job a year ago stopping the run, which creates opportunities. We did a pretty good job of the other night. What were they, 2 for 10 on 3rd down? But the problem with the two they made were runs on 3rd and long against a triple option team. What are you going to do? You going to rush the passer, or Are you going to, and both of them should have been 4 or 5 yard gains, and I think they both ended up being touchdown drives. One of them was a big play. So, I think right now for us, we got to fix some things amongst us, and it's all stuff that's fixable, but play like you've been coached to play, contain the quarterback. One of their scores was directly, if we contain the quarterback, Alex Mayer's going to sack the guy. And so it's just little stuff like that we've got to do better at. But yeah, I think, we've got to be able to contain their run game.
Coach, you mentioned Ian Williams and special teams and how important they are, but what about Mercer, who's got a couple of guys, punt return, kick return as well, that have an advantage on their side?
Well, every week, I thought the two guys the other night were phenomenal. They really, really, really hurt Chattanooga with the returns. You go to South Carolina, who's supposed to got one of the best, special teams in the country, so we've seen it. Certainly Mercer's guys as good as been in this league in a long time. I've been around here a long time, but he is a dynamic guy, and they want to get him the ball. They've got really good athletes. They cover well. So, special teams, you keep hoping one of these weeks maybe you get a little break where you feel like you got a big advantage. But, we were having to play really well just to, match the people that we're playing against. But I think special teams will be a huge part of this game, and as it were, I think it were a year ago.
Braden, last year against Mercer, I thought might have been the defense's best showing of the season. A lot of good showings, but Mercer was particularly, I thought, impressive, particularly your game down there. Obviously, this is a new year, new quarterback, new things going on probably, but how much confidence does last year, or is there any, or is it you just considered a whole clean slate, but knowing what you guys did to them on defense last year, how much confidence that can give you going into this game this week?
Yeah, we're pretty confident as a defense, fixing stuff from last week, carrying over into this week. And, last year we did bring it to them, and I plan on doing the same thing this year. It's a week in, week out kind of mindset we got to have as a defense, have confidence in ourselves.
Coach, you mentioned the quarterbacks, and they're a little bit different. I think you guys wanted to get a lot of pressure last year, and I think y'all had 5 sacks. What have you seen, or have you looked at any film so far as how they've maybe evolved offensively this year as opposed to last year, or how are they different?
I don't know. They're a lot different. I thought last year really is when they kind of started changing a little bit. I think one of the keys last year was containing the quarterback. Trying to limit their run game, which they've always been good at running the football, but was just containing the quarterback. He'd hurt so many people. He was so good with his feet, running and throwing and throwing. And I thought we managed that. I thought we had a really good day up front on both sides of the ball, which is something we'll have to do. I think whoever has the best day up front this week on both sides of the ball probably going to win the game. And certainly the turnover margin part of it, But I don't see where they've changed a ton. Again, they're going to try to find. They're like everybody. They're going to try to find a way to get the ball to playmakers, and they certainly have some playmakers, and have a young back that's kind of filled in there to give them some depth. And they've had a bye week. I think this is the 3rd straight year they've had a bye week before us. I'm not sure how that happens, but so I'm sure we'll see a couple little wrinkles, which they always seem. Coach Cronick has done a great job wherever he's ever been, and. I'm sure we'll see a few things we hadn't seen. But I think we see that every week, and we see it in kind of all 3 phases.
Mercer has played such a wide range of teams. North Alabama, tough game. Ole Miss probably took no prisoners. And then Moorhead is a non-scholarship program. When you watch them, how do you evaluate their players against 3 different levels?
Well, you're right. This year it is, but they're largely the same players they had a year ago and had a really, really good football team. So I don't know. I've watched last year's tape. Certainly the quarterback position's different. I think certainly the kid now is more than capable. He's not. Certainly he's a different guy than they had going a year ago. I don't know. North Alabama, first game, they had tons of transfer. I don't know. It's typical first games. Ole Miss was one of those games that I was a little bit afraid that we could get into when just had a hard time tackling them, and just because of when you play in those games, that's the stuff you worry about, and that's kind of what happened. And then, I don't know. I think probably a week ago, I guess they played 2 weeks ago. They scored a bunch of points, and maybe didn't have their full attention. I'm sure there's some people already looking ahead to us with that bye week. So I don't know. I just think it's largely the same team they had, from a year ago. So why they were so highly thought of. They're top 20 team, or at least top 25 team now. So it'll take our very best effort to have a chance to win.
So for Braden and Wyatt, both of you guys been around a while in the program, seen it develop. How do you feel about this year's team and what you can accomplish? Braden, you can start.
I have a lot of confidence in the team we have this year compared to last year. I mean, it's basically the same team. Same team, same goals. Just got to show up and compete and do our job.
Yeah, same. I think, we're a really confident team. I think we could beat anyone. I think anyone could beat us. I think, football is one of those sports that you got to go out and it all comes down to 60 minutes on a Saturday, and it could go either way. So I really like our team. I really like where we're at right now. We got some great leadership, a lot of experience up front and everywhere really, and we just got to go get it done on Saturdays.
Wyatt, it's kind of neat to see how it seems like all of you guys can play anywhere along the offensive line. It kind of speaks to your flexibility and how you're also coached. But, getting Jake back, having everybody healthy this week, first off, what does having Jake back mean to y'all up front together? And how important is it, while you can all play different positions, how important is it to develop some kind of consistency in where you're at currently together?
Yeah, so I'll answer the second one first. Offensive line's a real comfort thing. You want to get comfortable at where you're at. You want to get comfortable with who you're playing next to. You want to have a trust and build up a level of, trust with one another, and just be able to know where everyone's going to be at. And, having Jake back is huge for that reason, especially because he's someone that everyone trusts. He's always going to know where he's at. He's, one of the toughest, most physical guys I've ever seen on a football field. And just having him back, having that physicality back up front, it's really going to be a lot of help, against a really good defensive front with Mercer.
Coach, how hard is it to, scheme against a guy like Devron Harper? I think he's a little bit like the Binyard kid for Kennesaw State. They use him in a lot of different ways. Can you just talk about how much pressure he puts on defense?
Yeah, it's I think anytime you try to, it's like somebody's got a really good quarterback. It's kind of hard to deny him having the ball in his hands. He's a receiver, but they use him in all the kick game. They will hand it to him, do some different things. So, what do you do? Not kick it to him? Don't think about that, and can you do that, because that's one less chance he has to touch it. But not, and he's going to get his touches. I mean, you'd like to limit the number of times he can touch it, and you don't always have control over that. And he's just such a hard guy to get on the ground. And guy's done it against everybody, at kind of all levels. So he's been doing it since he's there. So I don't know if you figured that out this week. Why don't you let me know? But I think you try to deny him getting the ball in his hands is the best way to do it. But again, a lot of times you don't totally have control over that.
Conference time starts. So far, so good for Wyatt and Braden. Are you ready?
Absolutely, I'm ready. I've been waiting for this for almost a year, or not a year, about 6 months since we ended the last season. And I decided to come back. I'm ready. I'm excited.
I think we're all ready for this one. I still have a bad taste in my mouth from Mercer after that Sanford game to end the season last year, and I think all of us are really ready to get back into conference play and get this thing rolling, because that's what all of us came back for. That's what we're here for, is win a championship, and this is the first step right here.
Coach, that appears to be all of the questions from the assembled media. You want to make a final statement, give us a final thought here?
No, I just certainly thrilled to be back at home. Seems like it's been a while, which it has been. But now we're excited to play a really, really good Mercer team. It'll take our best effort, but I'm excited for our team. We're if we can just continue to improve, and sometimes it's baby steps. But again, we're just trying to go play our best game, which we hadn't done yet. But our kids are playing hard, and we're being physical. We're doing a lot of those things that we have to do to be really good in all phases of the game, and certainly we'll need to be able to do that this week to have a chance to go get a win. And it's hard to win a football game. It's really hard to win a championship. So, but certainly I think the winner of this football team certainly has a lot better chance than the one that doesn't. So we need to have a great week of prep, and we'll be excited to go play.
All right, just a couple of notes. The Paladins were up a spot in the coaches poll that was released earlier today, up to number 7. And as far as broadcast information, the game will be televised this week on ESPN+. It's also the Nexstar Game of the Week, locally and regionally in the area. Check your local listings for that. From a radio standpoint, we will have the Pepsi Countdown to kickoff at 11:30 a.m. And, of course, the kick is at 1 o'clock on the Fan Upstate, 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 in Spartanburg, and at Odyssey.com and the Odyssey app. Thank you to Coach Clay Hendricks, Braden Gilby, Wyatt Hughes, and for all of us at Furman, I'm Dan Scott, saying God bless you. So long, everybody. This has been a Hunter Reed and Jeff Schetzel production with an assist from Carly Hughes. Carly Rose.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.